Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and hail to you. Welcome back to the Havamal in Depth. I'm your host, the Stoic Lokian, and today we embark on an enlightening journey into stanzas 20 and 21 of the Havamal. Join me as we unravel the timeless teachings encapsulated in these ancient verses, exploring the pitfalls of greed and the profound wisdom of moderation. So, stanzas 20 and 21 impart a cautionary tale. Starting with stanza 20, a greedy man, if he not be moderate, eats to his mortal sorrow. Oftentimes his belly draws laughter on a silly man who along the way prudent comes. Stanza 21 follows in a very similar vein, hence the reason for doing both of these stanzas together in one episode. So stanza 21, cattle know when to go home, and then from grazing cease, but a foolish man never knows the measure of his own stomach. Now, as with many episodes and stanzas before, the words may seem seemingly straightforward, but within them lie profound insights into the consequences of unrestrained desire. As we delve into the Old Norse perspective, we encounter a cultural ethos that places significant importance on moderation and prudence. The caution against greed echoes the values of a society that valued balance and foresight, and probably good health, given the times they lived in, difficult times. Many of their men were regularly off to war and battling, so you would need that good health. In the Viking Age as well, a society built on not just war, as a lot of people know the Vikings for, but mainly trade and exploration. The consequences of unchecked greed were likely well understood. The stanzas speak to the dangers of excessive desire, especially when it comes to indulgence in food. The notion that a greedy man eats to his mortal sorrow, for example, and the fact that a foolish man never knows the measure of his own stomach underscores the destructive nature of insatiable appetites. The stanzas also introduce a contrast between the silly or foolish man and the prudent. Laughter is drawn upon the silly man, emphasising that unrestrained greed can lead to ridicule. The fact that even cattle know when to stop eating suggests to me that we have a lot to learn from nature. Even the creatures that are seen as below us in terms of intelligence know it is never a good idea to overindulge. In contrast, the prudent who exercises moderation is not only spared from such laughter, but is also implied to be wiser in his choices. To further illustrate the perils of unchecked desire, we turn to one of my favourite sagas, the saga of Thrymr, or Thrym. Not least because it's one of the sagas where we see both Thor, who dons a bride's dress and pretends to be Freya, and the cunning of Loki, who shapeshifts into Freya's handmaiden, both working together. The saga of Thrym is a narrative that resonates with the themes of greed and its consequences. This saga unfolds the story of a giant, Thrym, who steals Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, and demands the goddess Freya as his bride in exchange for return. You can imagine Freya not being overly happy about that. But Thrymr's character epitomises the destructive nature of greed. His desire for Mjolnir and Freya's hand in marriage stems from that insatiable lust for power and wealth. The saga serves as a cautionary tale, ending with the death of Thrym and his kin at the hands of Thor, showcasing how unrestrained desires, especially when driven by greed, can lead to disastrous outcomes. As we explore the stanzas through a Stoic lens, guided by the philosopher Epictetus, we uncover parallels between Norse wisdom and Stoic principles. Stoics too emphasise the importance of moderation and the perils of unchecked desires. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, taught that true freedom lies in mastering our desires. The caution against greed in these stanzas aligns with the Stoic view that unbridled desires can enslave individuals, leading to dissatisfaction and ultimately sorrow. Epictetus, a slave himself for a large portion of his life, in fact his name, Epictetus, means acquired one, if he were alive today, would almost definitely echo the counsel to be moderate in our appetites. During his time as a slave in Rome, he wrote about his witnessing of countless indulgences and greed. For me, his quote that aligns beautifully with both stanzas 20 and 21 is, "Fortify yourself with moderation, for it is an impenetrable fortress." The Stoic virtue of temperance, or moderation, encourages individuals to find a balance in their desire, and this virtue of temperance is so important, it's one of the 4 cardinal pillars of Stoicism. The prudent, in Stoic terms, is one who exercises self-control and considers the consequences of their actions. Stanzas 20 and 21, with their emphasis on prudence, resonates with the Stoic cardinal virtue of temperance. As we reflect on these stanzas in the context of our modern lives, their wisdom remains profoundly relevant. In a world that often glorifies excess and instant gratification, the caution against greed encourages us to consider the long-term consequences of our choices. The consumerist culture prevalent in modern society can often lead to unchecked desires and impulsive consumption. The first 21 stanzas of the Havamal, it's fair to say, succinctly wrapped up in these last 2, have invited us to reflect on our own tendencies and recognise the potential pitfalls of unrestrained materialism and gluttony. Moreover, stanza 20's mention of the silly man drawing laughter highlights the social consequences of conspicuous greed. In an age of social media and constant visibility, the imprudent pursuit of wealth and indulgence may invite not just criticism, but also ridicule. The prudent, on the other hand, serves as a model for navigating the complexities of desire with wisdom. The modern world, with its myriad of temptations, rewards those who exercise prudence and moderation. It's a reminder that true fulfillment comes not from excess, but from thoughtful, measured choices, from balance, from temperance. In conclusion, stanzas 20 and 21 serve as a poignant reminder of the perils of unchecked greed and the enduring wisdom of moderation. As we navigate the complexities of our desires and choices, may the insights from these ancient verses guide us toward a path of prudence and fulfillment. Before I sign off, I will, as always, read the stanzas to you one more time. So stanza 20 reads, "A greedy man, if he not be moderate, eats to his mortal sorrow. Oftentimes his belly draws laughter on a silly man who along the prudent comes. And stanza 21 reads, cattle know when to go home, and then from grazing cease, but a foolish man never knows the measure of his own stomach. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Havamal in Depth, and thank you for being so patient with me. I know it's been a little while since my last episode. I promise to make these more regular again. If you've found these insights resonant though, please do consider liking, subscribing or leaving me a review. Sharing with your friends and social networks is always greatly appreciated. Until next time, may the wisdom of stanzas 20 and 21 inspire prudence and balance in your life. Thank you, and hail to you.